making an offer for TikTok. Elon's leaving the position so soon. Hooters filing for bankruptcy. Men everywhere in sadness. OpenAI closes $40 billion in funding. Now worth more than McDonald's and Chevron. Those are today's headlines here on the Business News of the Week.
This is Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. We are the #1 business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 400 episodes. You ready to start snapping necks and cashing checks? Well, it starts right about now.
What's up, guys? Ryan Alford here. Good to be here. We're in studio in Greenville, South Carolina. My home, born and raised. I've lived in Manhattan, ventured to Chicago and LA, and well-traveled, but we're here in G Vegas, as we call it. It's Social House, my social club and lounge and co-work space, mixed use. Come see us on the Swamp Rabbit Trail in the beautiful city of Greenville anytime. And we're just pumped to be here as always. You got numero uno today. I haven't done monologue single, by myself without a guest or Chris, who's taking care of some business here today on record day down in Miami. He's got some big things going on. And so just me on the mic, but it's kind of fun. I haven't done it in a while. I got to remember that to carry all the audio. So bear with me a bit. I have the gift of gab, but I have to remember that I don't have these pauses or breaks where I can turn to someone for, comedic insight or just maybe smarter things than I have to say. So I appreciate you wherever you are, whenever you are listening. Again, this is our business news of the week. We try to really break down what we think. We do this once a week. We're going to be moving more to this format in the future. But right now, we're trying to break down and bring to you what are those business articles, headlines, and things that really matter to business. We take the BS out of business. So as you know, news changes every day, and it's hard to stay ahead of it sometimes, especially with the current administration. But what I try to do is, extract the things that seem both interesting, but also potentially impactful for day-to-day business and really small business at the end of the day. My agency works with, big, large, and small companies, but ultimately we're trying to extract those things that, hey, you should be paying attention to because maybe it's a national business interest, or it could impact you because we do have a lot of entrepreneurs and people getting after it. So again, we're on YouTube, the full video, get an interactive experience, a little different than the audio. So check us out there. You can always watch it on Spotify as well. And always remember, all of our content is at ryanisright.com. You can also check out our newsletter at /newsletter, that same thing. But go to ryanisright.com. I've made some refreshes to the site this week and made it a little easier to navigate around and get to the stuff that you want. You can also get our media kit there. If you're a sponsor, someone looking, you've got a business, want to hit it. We are your #1 marketing and business show on Apple. We've been that for almost 3 years. So you want to get your message heard, go click on that media kit and get in touch. We'd love to feature you on the show. So let's get to those headlines. Amazon making an offer for TikTok here. April 5th was the deadline. That's Saturday by my math. Tomorrow, this releasing on a Friday. We'll see if that actually happens. But as of recording, Amazon was making a last-breaking offer. So it's possible that when you listen to this, with the way things move, maybe Amazon buys it. Maybe Trump approves a certain deal. He seems to be willing and dealing. And this is why I've been a little I get a little crazy with all the platforms anyway. I tell clients all the time, you can kind of go nuts with, okay, there's 17 platforms. It can be overwhelming with knowing where to post, where to have impact, where to move the needle for your business. And I always say, get one or two really right before you water it and spread it thin across a ton. And for me, having this show, having the reach that we do, all of our accounts are verified and were before you could buy it. But I bring that up to say, I've got a decent following on TikTok, but I don't even post there that often because most of our audience is between Instagram and LinkedIn or YouTube now. And so And honestly, this whole thing with not knowing it, I like to sort of build on houses that I know aren't going to fall over the next day. And it's just felt like there's been this wave. And I know you can take advantage of any platform, but there's this kind of like shadow over TikTok. And I know there's a billion people use it. I know that people are mad about it. And it's a great platform for what it is. But at the end of the day, that shadow's kind of kept me from getting too vested in it with all the content and things like that. And I just haven't had time to go down those rabbit holes, man. You get on the platform, it really is addictive, and you get sucked in. They're pretty good with that algorithm. And ultimately, that's why I've kind of been in this wait and see approach and telling clients, hey, take advantage of the organic reach while you can. But now, not knowing what exactly is going to happen, if it is going to get shut down, because I don't think Trump's playing around. He's going to expect something to happen. I don't think status quo. I mean, maybe he extends it for 2 weeks or something to get a deal done. But I think this is real. Amazon's really interesting. They've got Prime Video, they've got other things, but they don't really have the social media, network amongst, if I think of the big, I don't know, 3 or 4, you've got Google, you've got Facebook, or Meta, and you've got Amazon. I'd throw Walmart in there as well. Amazon has obviously Prime, and I don't want to discount that. A lot of people watch Prime Video and those things, but they don't have this social media and video component. And that could be, think about Amazon shopping on steroids on TikTok. The integration could be crazy. I mean, TikTok shop and all that stuff's already kind of taken off. But if you mix that in with the infrastructure of Amazon, it gets real interesting. I mean, I can see it now. You're going down the rabbit hole. You just, in two swipes, anything you want at your fingertips with Amazon built into TikTok. That could be interesting. Don't know if it's going to happen, but it certainly makes sense. I can see why Amazon would want it in the portfolio. All that data, the number of people who use it, time on site, integrate that in with shopping and Prime shipping in that experience. Oh, and hey, be verified, but let's make Prime even better. You're Prime verified. I can go down a lot of holes for integration on this thing, and it gets interesting. It's going to be interesting how it all plays out. There's been other bids. Supposedly Microsoft was in the game. I mean, why wouldn't Microsoft want to get in there? Again, this is a data and reach play for all the users and all the attention that's on these platforms. Once you have attention, once you have billions of people using your platform every day, you have attention and you have data and you have knowledge. And that's leverage, because when you have attention, it creates leverage to do what you want to do, to sell things, to market things, to have influence over volumes of data. So again, interesting. Amazon making an offer, might be sold by the time this runs, but those could be the implications. And it could be interesting to see Amazon verified Prime. You get a blue check and a Prime star or whatever it is. Their symbol is, it's the Prime logo in italics or something. Next up, Elon supposedly leaving his position as Doge, his unelected position. There's been so much uproar. You've had Teslas getting burned, which is bullshit. And all this hate for a guy who's just trying to save the country some money. And yeah, we can go down the road. It's self-serving. Okay, fine. But you know what? He's trying to save, the future of our economy and finances. We can't be 50 trillion in debt. What are we going to leave for our children here? 50 trillion in debt and owing China and all these other countries money. And it just doesn't, it's unsustainable. And so the guy's been trying to figure that out. I agree. He's been kind of like a bull in a china shop. I could be that way myself a little bit on a smaller scale, but at least my wife says so. I just walk around the house. I'm a big dude. I bump into shit. It's like, oh, I did it. I mean, that's kind of like Elon here. He's bumping into lots of stuff, and nobody likes layoffs. Nobody likes the negative news, but I also don't like 50 trillion in debt. So we got to get out of debt so that our currency doesn't go to shit, and that we actually can do what we need to do in the future and protect the sanctity of the country and what our best interests are. So, but I will say, and I can see, Donald and Elon are not idiots. they know and have seen the polarization that this has caused. I also have wondered the same thing. Like, how's Elon running his own company? Like, he's got one of the largest companies in the world, value-wise, multiple. You got SpaceX, you got Tesla, and I don't know how he's running the government too. I mean, not running the government, but running the government efficiency department. So I think, though, if it's causing the polarization and Elon needs to take care of business at home, it's probably the best thing. He's probably enacted some things, shook things up. And look, that's what we need to do. It is status quo central in Washington. I don't agree with every single move that Donald Trump makes, but I agree with shaking it up and making us think a little differently, because you keep doing the same, you get the same results. And it hasn't changed. You got these stalwarts in Washington that have been in these positions for years. And at the end of the day, they're all fighting for their own power, their own position, and their own right to, have cocktails and fly to Washington how many ever times a month. That's what it seems like. I know that there's some patriots in there. I know that. It's not that simple. But this is what happened when you put change makers in positions to make stuff happen. I can appreciate I'm a man of action. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, but we got to make stuff happen. Like, it just can't be theory. We've been in this theory mode in the U.S. government for I don't know how long. It would be great if we drained the swamp, and it would be wonderful if we saved some money and got out of debt. And then every other president is adding $3 trillion a day, something like that. And these numbers it get tossed around, but it's real fucking money. And it is time for us to make some tough choices and tough decisions. And so I don't like that it impacts people's jobs. But what I'm not going to tolerate, what no American should tolerate, is, people collecting checks for dead people for Social Security, or fraudulently, ripping off the government, which means us, by the way, taxpayers. Sometimes I think we create this facade in our heads that there's the separation between our pocketbooks and what the U.S. government is. No, we fund it. It's called taxes in everything we do. Gas, purchases, groceries, everything. And when you turn your blind eye to this, you're paying more in taxes one way or another. And so it hurts the bottom line. It hurts the money in the market. And it's part of the reason, we've got some of the challenges that we do right now. So you've got to have those cuts. So we'll see what happens with Elon. Happily married man, and haven't been to a Hooters in a while. But I saw this article, and it felt like business news to me, just of interest. I mean, I feel like the man of the people. I got to let people know that Hooters has filed for bankruptcy. And the headline kind of made me chuckle. Joel, our producer, I think it did the same for him. He was looking at it. He kind of had that same look as I did. He was like, I was like, it said Hooters files for bankruptcy, but they plan to stay afloat. And I added a little bit of even more fun. I was like, hopefully the markets start perking up and we'll be good. Sorry, it's easy. Dad jokes and low hanging fruit. But definitely some tears being shed across the nation. I mean, it's sort of a mainstay, isn't it? Sort of in the, I don't know, the viewpoint of America, the Hooters bars, And I will say this might be controversial. I think their wings are good. They're different. They're a little different than a traditional buffalo wing. I'll admit they got the breading on them, but I enjoy a Hooters wing. And I hope that everyone can appreciate that. But Hooters says they are actually going to stay in business. They're refiling some things, doing some things. It's always funny to me. I guess you come up early in your career and you always think, well, if someone's filing for bankruptcy, that means they're going out of business. But not anymore. We file for bankruptcy, restructure, and hopefully we can keep the Hooters afloat as they plan to. We'll see. OpenAI is worth more than McDonald's. That's hard to believe to me. I get it because I know how big these companies are and I know how impactful AI is. So it's less that I not wrapping my head around AI, but more that it's worth more than McDonald's this fast. This technology is not that old. That's how fast it's moving. Different integrations. I tell you what, though, if you aren't using AI, you aren't using ChatGPT, dude, you got to get come on. It's time to. Yeah, I mean, I tell people all the time, jobs aren't going away. It's just there's going to be people that know how to use AI and they're more efficient and more fast, and the ones that don't. And those people's jobs will go away, at least in the short term. Long term, it's going to have bigger implications. But in the short term, that's the reality. Because while you're slow and not using that AI, someone else is moving faster, quicker, making educated decisions, using strategy, doing work, not doing tedious work that you're still doing, and doing it faster. So that's what you're up against. So you got to learn that. And this is why OpenAI, with users and data and all this stuff and technology and infrastructure, it is worth more than McDonald's. It's so funny to me, like this like when you close, like it closes 40 billion in funding. So they raised 40 billion, but they're worth more than McDonald's. So you're raising money and it makes you worth more than something else. And I get it. Somebody's going to DM me and, Ryan, you know how this stuff works? I know how it works. But it's still funny to me that the value, it's like, well, if I could raise, what's McDonald's value worth? Let's say McDonald's is worth, I don't know, $500 million, 500 billion, excuse me. Don't think it's that. I'm just making up numbers here, by the way. Well, I can go raise 501 billion. Does that make my company more valuable than McDonald's? I guess, because I got cash. But it's just interesting. You raise money to make your company worth more and to go invest. And look, that's probably, that 40 billion might be just paying the power bill. You know how much power these things generate? Like the heat dispersion and power alone on these is crazy. But I tell you what, it'll summarize a podcast faster than you can blink an eye. Like there's stuff we did 3 or 4 years ago that we don't have to do anymore. And so you got to be using it and automating with this. And now it does tasks and everything else. It's scary good how I felt like, I don't know, even a year ago, I felt like when I used these technologies, like just the basic functionality, it sounded like AI. But now you can train these things and get it, like ask the right prompts. These prompt engineers, it's kind of like, if you want the right answers, you got to ask the right questions. And that's what it is with AI. And if you can start asking the right questions and training these things and saving things, because you can save it and it's learning and it's getting scary good. Like some of the creatives, both the strategy and the creative. I still think I can outduel it in a creative writing match, like with thought. But damn, the coming to an insight based on data, that is helpful. Did a research study for a client, website usage study. Are you kidding? Like summarizing that and kind of extracting a few takeaways for me. Like I would have taken me 5 days of probably 3 hours a day hitting that thing. And it did it in like 30 minutes. Like it gave me some insights. It formulated some things for me. It allowed me to sort of output that human overlay to the data and the inputs that they gave me so quickly that would have taken me, days. And that's what this platform and these things do. And you've got Gronk and you've got all these other variations that are not OpenAI. But the day is coming. And now it's worth more than that Happy Meal. My kids shed a tear. The Happy Meals around the Alford house are crazy. Those are your biggest headlines of the week. It's going to be interesting to see how TikTok plays out. It's coming, people. It will be interesting. I can already see the memes if we got a shutdown. I don't want that to happen because it impacts a lot of small business, a lot of people, but part of me wants it for the memes. I mean, I know that's not, it's not the depression factor though, of every, 18 to 24-year-old. And yes, I know my mom's on it too. Like everybody uses TikTok, or a lot of people demos do, but let's be honest, it still skews younger, and that vortex goes away. They're not going to know what to do with their time. Maybe move over to Instagram. That's kind of why I've stayed on Instagram. The IG, baby. That's where it's at. It's just my platform. I've been on there since 2009, like literally when they first came out. Find me at Ryan Alford on there, by the way. Hey, shoot me a DM. Comment on the show. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. We appreciate it. We'll see what happens with Hooters and Elon and OpenAI just raising that cash, baby. Cash. I'm excited about a series we got coming up on the trading cards we've been watching. We're not opening any cards today. You're going to get blown away. Probably tease one more news episode. I'm going to share some stats that'll blow your mind for how big this trading card industry is between Pokemon, NFL cards. The stock market might be going down, but the trading card investment's going up. We're actually recording the first guest in this series. Got one of the hottest companies in sports cards. So little teaser there. We appreciate you for listening. You can subscribe on YouTube to see the full episode. Again, rate and review on Apple Podcasts and my newsletter at ryanisright.com. Of course, we appreciate you. We can't do this without you. And thank you for making us number one. We'll see you next time on Right About Now.
This has been Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. Visit ryanisright.com for full audio and video versions of the show or to inquire about sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.
This is our weekly business news here on April 4th, 2025. Today's headlines: Amazon making an offer for TikTok. Elon's leaving the position so soon. Hooters filing for bankruptcy. Men everywhere in sadness. OpenAI closes $40 billion in funding, now worth more than McDonald's and Chevron. Those are today's headlines here on the Business News of the Week.
This is Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. We are the number one business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 4